In this video, we're going to talk about importing into Lightroom. And this is something you have to be very careful about in Lightroom because it's easy to mislocate files and it'll drive you crazy later. I want to talk a little bit about the Lightroom system first. Lightroom is an application. A lot of times I hear people say they're going to import pictures into Lightroom. And I think that's kind of a misstatement. Lightroom is an application. You don't import photos into it. I understand why we might say that, but really that application enables you to move files from one place to another, to make copies of those files to wherever you'd like to, and it will also keep track of where those files are. I think of Lightroom and the catalog file that it has as kind of like a real library of books. There is part of Lightroom that's kind of like a librarian. And there's part of Lightroom, the catalog file, that's like the computer or a card catalog where you would look up a book and locate it and know where it's located in the library. But the books, metaphorically, or our image files, they're located in specific places or locations within our computer or our hard drive. The diagram I'm showing you here is just a very simple way of thinking about how you are on a computer. That computer has a Lightroom application that's running on it. You bring to that computer a memory card that has image files. We have like 3 raw files here. And then you have an external drive connected to that computer, and that's where we have established our Lightroom catalog, or our LR-cat file. That's our card catalog or computer library catalog that keeps track of where the image files are located. When we do an import, if you have Lightroom import your images directly off of your memory card, by default, Lightroom will bring those images or make new copies of those images on the local computer. That's fine if you never work anywhere but home, although it'll bog down your computer over time with more and more files. But by itself, this system will still work because the LR-cat file in the external drive will refer to, or Lightroom will refer to that file, and it knows that these files are on that computer and everything is okay at that moment. But what we'd prefer to do is direct those files to be located on your external drive right in the same place as your LR-cat file, or at least in the same volume as your LR-cat file. And the reason is, if those images are remaining on the computer instead of your external drive, when you go to connect that external drive to a different computer, and this Lightroom application, this librarian, if you will, looks at the same catalog and says, there's a confusion here. I've got a record for these raw files, but I can't find them. They're located in a different place than the catalog says I can get to, or the catalog says they're in a place and I can't get to them. So that's a problem. So when we import into Lightroom, we're going to be very careful about where those files get located, and I'm going to show you a method for moving those files first before you import them with Lightroom. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to plug in a memory card that has some images on it. Now I am in favor of a transfer first way of importing. Move the images to where they should be, then import them with Lightroom. So you see here on my desktop, here is my camera card, and if I go into the DCIM folder, into my camera folder, here are a lot of raw files. Where do I want those pictures to go? I'm going to open up my hard drive now and go to my folder with my name on it, and I'm going to go to my camera files folder. Let's say I have shot these for assignment 1. I've already created a folder for assignment 1, here it is. All I'm going to do is move the files from the camera card into assignment 1 folder. If I haven't yet created a folder for these images to go to, I can right click in the area where I want to create the new folder, hit new folder, and then give this folder a name. Let's say, again, it's my last name, my course number, and I'm using P3 for my photography practices 3 course. You would put whatever course number you have, and maybe assign. I've already got 9 assignments. Let's say I would add 10 for assignment 10. Okay, that's how you'd create a new folder for your images to go into. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you here is the Finder method of doing this. We are in simply the Finder. We're in the operating system of the computer, and I could grab all of the pictures if I wanted to from this card and drag them and let them go into that folder. I'm not going to do that just yet. That's great if you want to move all of the pictures at once, and you may want to do that. That's an easy way to do it. What if you didn't want to add all of those pictures at once? You wanted to simply add a few of them. You could select the first picture you wanted to add, scroll down and find the last picture you want to add and shift click, and then move just those pictures. Except that you may not know which is the last picture you really want to add, so that makes it a little bit trickier. If I go to my first picture, I'll see a preview pop up in this little area on the right hand column. By the way, I love working in the column view. I think it makes it very easy to find. So okay, that's the first picture I want to import, but what's the last picture I want to import? I don't know. I don't know with these numbers that the camera assigned which is the last picture, and I can go one by one by one and look at these pictures in their previews until I find the last one that I want. But this might take a while. They're raw files, they take a little bit of time to calculate a preview. Nope, that's still not the last one I want to pick. Is this the last one I want to pick? You can see how this might take a little while. Now you can do it, and eventually if you find the last picture that you want, I think for me it's this one. Now I've already got that one chosen. I can scroll back up to the top, and if I hold down the Shift key and click on that first one, now I have that whole block of files selected, but none of these that will be in my second batch. And I can, again, drag these images all together into the folder where I want them to be on the hard drive. So that is the Finder method of doing it. But you can see it might take a little bit of time to figure out what images you want to move. We could also use Adobe Bridge to locate and find these files. So I'm going to start up Adobe Bridge here. It's in my dock. You may have to go into an Applications folder to find it. When Adobe Bridge opens up, one nice thing about Adobe Bridge is it works kind of like a browser. You're going to browse through existing folders and find files, and you can also use Adobe Bridge to move files or to make new copies. So if I go to this left-hand area, now I've got mine set up a little bit differently than maybe how yours has it. I've got my folders over here on the left-hand side, a preview area here, and my content down at the bottom. And we can talk about how to move things around in Bridge later if we want. I'm going to go find over here in this folders area. You may be on default by favorites. I'm going to go to folders, and I have these little arrows to rotate open to find things. So if I rotate open my camera card and DCIM, zoom in just so you can see that, rotate open my camera card, then rotate open DCIM, eventually I find my way to my camera folder. And now, if I zoom back out here, you'll see that all of the images in that camera folder are down here in this kind of film strip area for me. It'll be in your content area one way or the other. And the nice thing is you get previews right away that you can tell like what these images are. So now it's a lot easier for me to click on the first image I want to get, scroll on down and find the last image I want to get. And I hold down the Shift key and I clicked on that last image. Now I have all of these images in between the first one and the last one selected. What if you didn't want all of those pictures in a row, you just wanted individual ones? You can select on one and then you can command click, or if you're on Windows that would be a control click. You can command click in Mac, control click in Windows, and as you hold that command or control key down, you can select individual images that are not adjacent. So that might be another helpful way to grab all of them. Again, I'm going to go back and select that first picture. I'm going to scroll over and shift click to get my last picture. Now that I have all those selected, what I can do is drag in a group this group of pictures to wherever I'd like them to go. Where would I like them to go? I'm going to go back over to the left-hand side. Magnify this a little bit for you to see. I'm going to find my folder that has all my pictures, my whole catalog. I'll go to Camera Files, and here is Assignment 1 folder. And what I'll do is come down here to the content area. With all of these selected, I'm going to click and drag one of those pictures, but all of them will come with me, and I will place them onto the folder where I want them to go, and you'll see that Bridge is now making new copies of those files into the folder where I intend them to be. You notice I'm moving the pictures first, whether I use Finder or Bridge. I am not yet importing them with Lightroom. I'm moving them first. And the point of this is I am making very sure that the picture files, these image files, go to where I intend them to be. This prevents them from accidentally ending up in the pictures folder of the computer or anywhere else where I might not realize they're going. By default, Lightroom will want those pictures to go, the image files to go into the pictures folder of your computer. And that can be a real problem if you're on a school computer where you will leave and go to another computer later, or that school computer's hard drive will be refreshed or erased overnight. That can be a real problem and your images can go missing. A little fast forward here, and Adobe Bridge is almost done making new copies of the files into my assignment 1 folder. And when it finishes, I can go to that folder and I will see there are new copies of the images. They are all located where they're supposed to be. Lightroom doesn't know about these images yet. I haven't used Lightroom to import those pictures to its catalog, but they are located where they're supposed to be. So that's the transfer first part of this method. This is the end of video 1. In the next video, video 2, I'm going to show you how we'll use Lightroom to make these images a part of Lightroom's catalog, otherwise known as importing. And I should add, at this point, I'm going to quit Bridge. All right, on to video 2.